Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. I am with, how do you pronounce your last name? I don't
It's
want to butcher it.
it's Kim Argetzinger is the last name.
Okay, I'll try to get it right. I'll just let you say it. And we are going to be talking about the importance of mindset when you are goal setting. So today we'll talk about why mindset, how it's different than normal planning, and do like a little mini course on it. So first, in case you don't know me, I'm Jennifer Valor from TranspireLife.com. I help bloggers and service-based business owners create order and flow in their office and business. And this is Kim. I'll let you take over.
Argetzinger.
Yeah.
You want me to introduce myself?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. Hi, guys. Welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. My name's Kim Argetzinger, and I'm a success and mindset business coach. And I work with, I like to call them creative solopreneurs, but it's entrepreneurs and creatives and dreamers who are looking to start their own creative-based business. And I work with them to get clear on their bigger vision, really clear on what they want to do, to get out of their own way, which involves the mindset piece, and then to create a personalized plan of action, because I don't believe any of us are one size fits all, to take their business and life to the next level. And I love my work, and that is me and what I do. And I'm so psyched to be here today.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So with the year kind of getting crazier, we want to finish the year strong and start the new year with a bang. So why should we make sure to think about mindset when we do our goal setting?
Sure. So I'll preface by saying I think goal setting is so incredibly important. I think the stat is like only 4% of Americans are setting goals. So goals are incredibly, incredibly important. They are what help us to look forward and to create that life we want. But I'm a big believer that underneath everything we do, the foundation of that is our mindset. And it's been shown that about 95 to 99% of all of our conscious action, it gets its start in our subconscious mind. And that's where our mindset is hanging out. So if we're not taking a look at that mindset, we'll set goals, but we will self-sabotage. We won't reach them, or we won't follow through on them, or we'll reach them and achieve them, and we'll get there and we're like, ugh, I didn't even want to do this, or I don't feel good about it. So I think taking a look at that underlying mindset first is that foundation piece, and that's how we can then start to create goals that are aligned to the future that we want, that are aligned to our values, that are aligned to not just our current identity, but the identity we want to grow into.
Yeah, exactly. So how is using goal setting and planning with mindset different from the normal or without it?
Yeah, sure. So I'm trying to think of how to explain this without getting too much into brain science, but I think when we usually just set goals, what most of us are doing and how most of us are living our lives, and we're wired this way, I do it too, this isn't any sort of a judgment, but most of us are living our current lives and creating goals from our memories based on the past. So we are reacting to memories based on the past. And this is all in our subconscious minds, all hanging out subconsciously. And so when most of us are doing this, we're not taking any look at that, and we're not paying attention to this. We are just reacting based on things in the past. And so we're setting goals from that space. When we, on the flip side, take time to really get clear on, to look at our mindset and to take time to get clear on what some of our mindset blocks might be, what some of our fears might be, to take a look at our identity, which is what houses our mindset, and think about where we want to go and what we want to be, where instead of reacting from the past, we're starting to look forward. So we're creating goals from a forward-looking space, something that's brand new that hasn't already happened, and we can create from a very different space. And I think this can be a really powerful and intentional way to set goals. And it's not discounting other goals, but when we're, again, reacting from that past place, these can be memories from so long ago that are causing us to set goals that are based on shoulds. I think we've all done that. I should do this.
Yeah.
Then we get there and we're not even freaking enjoying it. Or we can create a goal, and when we achieve it, we don't even enjoy it, which is what I was saying earlier. So I think that's how it's a little different, because you're taking that time to look at that future version of yourself versus your past version of yourself, and you're getting clear on even your values, which is a part of our mindset, and creating
Yes.
goals from that space.
Oh, absolutely. So for like this year, I've started to learn about mindset. And so I'm going to be doing my goals very differently for next year. So for someone who hasn't really heard about mindset or hasn't tried using it when they goal set, um, what kind of tips do you give for them?
Sure.
Or why should they even try it?
Yeah, like why even consider this
Yeah.
mindset stuff? Yeah, I will say that I get that. I used to, I think, personally be really resistant to the mindset stuff, and I teach it now because I had to learn it first. And I'll say, just from a personal um, tidbit or note, the mindset work that I've done has, I've seen it change my personal life. I work with one-on-one clients, and I've seen it shift their life. So it's from a personal experience, but science says that this isn't me even saying about mindset. Science says this is how our mind works. So can I geek out on the science just a tiny bit?
Yeah.
If
I like
people
the
are into
science.
that. So our thoughts are real. Our thoughts they release, when we have a thought, it releases an electrical impulse in our brain. And that's what causes our feelings. And those feelings are then what cause us to take action or not take action. And that action then, that dictates whatever result we get. And it's a loop. So mind and doctors have studied this. They've done, I mean, years and years. They've dedicated their lives to this. So this is, I'm studying their work, but these are people who have dedicated their lives to this work, who have actually mapped out different parts of our brain, and they can see what happens when we have a thought and what part of our brain that's sending that current to and how that affects us. So this is, our mindset is, it's not just me saying that because I think it's cool. It's not just like a woo woo thing. It's a very real thing that's based in science. Our thoughts are very, very real, and they very much dictate those feelings we have and those actions we take. So with something like goal setting, it plays into account here when we can start to harness and control and take back that intentionality with our mindset and start to shift it. And science says we can rewire our brain. So anyone who's having some resistance or some argument of like, well, I'm just this way, science again shows that we all have the power to rewire our brain and to change these thoughts. When we're doing that, we can then change those feelings we're having, and again, those actions we're taking towards our goals. So I would say that towards anyone who might just be having a little resistance. And I think the other thing I would say, and I mean this with love and compassion, but is what you're doing right now working for you? And if it is, and if the way you're setting goals now and the way you're going about life now feels like it's fulfilling you, it's making you feel like you're living your life intentionally, if it's making you feel like you are creating the life you want and you feel fulfilled by it, don't mess with it. Don't take my advice. Don't listen to this. But if you feel like maybe what you're doing isn't quite working or there's a gap there, I would really just invite people to just be curious, just to try it out, just to dip their toes into it and see, how might adopting some of this, how might looking at my mindset, how might it be able to help shift the way I'm setting goals, but overall how I'm living. I mean, our goals are what change our life. So I would really just invite you to see what's working now. And if it's not, maybe just be open-minded and dip your toes in there.
Yeah, it's very important to be open-minded, especially as a business owner,
Oh,
because
yes.
nothing ever happens the way we plan. And then we've got to
Absolutely.
be open to things and say no and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. But all of that is, that's mindset work as well. I think sometimes we don't realize how much all of us are already practicing some of the mindset work. We're just maybe not calling it that. So letting go of some of those expectations, setting no and saying boundaries, that's all part of that mindset piece.
Yeah, and I like that you're focusing more on the scientific side of it, because I think a lot of people may get too woo-woo. And I mean, it has a place, but I just love the neurological science geek out side of it. So this is a really nice change. I love that.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because no one can see my desk, but my computer is too low to do the interview. So it's sitting on top of a stack of books, which are all like brain science and neuroscience. I just finished two more. So I love it. And for me, I think the woo-woo spirituality, I also believe in that, but I'm able to believe in it because of the science. The science,
Yeah.
like, I feel like there's a way to have both, but the science part is just fascinating to me. Our
Hmm.
brains are so fucking cool. Can I curse? They're
Yeah.
so cool. And
Okay.
it's so cool to know that we have the ability to change so much within our brain and that we can have exert such a control. And I mean, we're not going to dive into that today, but
Yeah.
my personal story, it's like the amount my life has changed from doing this work. It's just so cool. But you still have the spiritual piece.
Yeah. For me, I have to know why it does certain things. Like, you can't just, like, anytime anyone has like a blueprint or anything, I'm like, okay, but why does it work? Why? If you can't tell me why, then I just can't get into it. So,
I
yeah.
resonate with that. I'm the same way, 100%. It's why a lot of the work I do, this is not what I learned in my training. I got my coaching training. I'm like, but why? Why am I asking these questions? Why am I coaching people this way? Like, I want to get under the hood and know, I want to know why. I want to know why we do what we do, why we don't do what we do,
Hmm.
why certain things are happening, why we feel what we feel. And so I very much resonate with that.
Yeah. All right. So, how do you actually goal set with mindset?
So I think it's a bit of a big question because I think just the concept of mindset, there's a lot there, but though I'll give like a Cliff Notes version as to how I do it and how I work through some of my clients with this. So before setting goals, well, I'll preface by saying that mindset work in and of itself it's a daily repetitive action. So
Hmm.
anything with mindset, and this is again science, to change anything in our brain, we need repetition. So
Right.
doing anything once it's like going to the gym and lifting weights once and expecting to be a bodybuilder. And it's the same
Yeah.
with our mind. So know that anything I'm sharing, anything I'm doing, if you try it once and you're like, my whole life hasn't changed, I did it wrong. It takes some time to change what's been happening in our brain for many of us decades. So know that going into it. So with my clients and with myself, I have some mindset practices. And with goal setting, what I'll do with clients is I'll first, before we even talk about what the goals are, we'll really dive into some of that mindset stuff as far as what do they want? What is their future identity going to look like? So that's getting out of that past memory place in our brain,
Hmm.
and into the future. And it actually sends blood to a different part of our brain, which is where
Huh.
our planning occurs. It's where our creativity occurs. It's where rational thinking is. And so it actually even takes blood out of the reptilian part of our brain, which is where like stress hangs out. So when we're doing that, we're literally mindset. It's not just thinking away. We're in a different piece of our brain. So I'll spend some time with clients getting into that space. So we're not just looking to the future for what we want, but how we want to show up. What is our future self looking like? And usually with that, some of the limiting beliefs or some of the mindset fears will come up. So addressing those, if there's maybe there's a fear of success, or maybe there's a fear of failure, or there's some perfectionism coming up. So we'll address those first. And you can do this on your own with journaling, or just spending some time
Love journaling.
journaling. It's so good. I talk to myself mentally, or if I'm home alone, I will actually talk things out with myself. When we talk to ourselves, like there's a third party, like we're another person, it actually helps us to look at things from an outside view. It can be really powerful. So I have no shame. I talk to myself. But with those clients as well. And then from this space, so once we've gotten that part of our brain into that future focus, which is where that planning, where that rational thinking, that part of our brain that really can help us to mobilize into action. And once we've taken a look and addressed some of these maybe limiting beliefs or thoughts, from there, that's where I will then sit down and write my goals.
Okay.
I like to spend time reviewing past goals as well, and
Yep.
what hasn't worked, what has worked. Yeah, I think that can be great. So doing that work first, and I think from that, just getting clear again on that identity piece of not who am I now, but I always think of identity, the way we can grow our identities. I think there's a great who's the actor who talks about this? The Mask, what's his name? Jim Carrey. He talks about how he's
Hmm.
always chasing a future version of himself. And
Yes,
that's
I love
always,
that.
yeah. So this is the same idea here. It's not that there's anything wrong with our current version, but kind of chasing that future version and stepping into not just the goal, but who do I want to be? What do I need to step into that next part of myself? And then from there, setting those goals. And with that, one of the practices I practice every single day, and that is really powerful for starting to shift parts of our brain, some of that wiring in our brain. And also is really powerful with our goals and just the follow through is visualization. When we visualize, our brain can't tell the difference between a perceived and a real event. So when we spend time in
Oh.
visualization, yeah, it's like mind boggling. But again, this is where we can, if we have parts of our brain that are again attached to those past memories, when we spend time in visualization, visualizing that goal and us achieving it and like how awesome it would be when we achieve it, we're starting to neurologically rewire our brain and create a new memory that it's already happened. So from a mindset perspective, we're setting ourselves up to start acting from that memory instead of a past memory. And it can
Oh,
be,
that's so cool.
it's so cool. So visualization is, it sounds, I think, again, like a woo woo thing, and it can very much be spiritual and people tap into the energy, and but our thoughts have energy, and we're literally starting to create those new neural nets in our brain. So from that also we can follow through with our goals in a different way. I visualize before this interview, for example, and spend some time in that, and that then helps me to show up in a different way.
Do you think affirmations help with the visualizing?
I think affirmations absolutely can help, and affirmations can really, if we pick we want to pick them from the positive and they want to be action oriented, and we want to, I usually like to, I write affirmations every day. We want to be mindful of our affirmations, that when we're writing them, we're choosing affirmations that are, I like to think of them as whatever we want. They're like a rung or two on the ladder above, not
Mm-hmm.
17 above, because science again has shown that when we're writing affirmations that are so far out of what seems possible and our mind doesn't believe it, it will actually cause us to not believe it in our brain and do the opposite of good. So
Makes
affirmations,
sense.
absolutely. I write them every day. I think they're very powerful. There's been a link between handwriting and our brain. So we can again start to work
Yeah.
on that rewiring. But I think we want to be mindful that again, we're choosing something that's aligned with our goal that feels within reach. So with, for example, if I wrote, I'm going to be a millionaire next week, it isn't that that's not possible. I don't believe that. And so writing that over and over again is probably going to do more harm than good. But if I put a goal for some clients or a certain monetary goal that feels like a stretch, but like it could actually happen,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be
Right.
a lot more powerful for an affirmation. Does that make
That
sense?
makes sense.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I got very excited
Oh
and
yeah.
just like word vomited a lot. So I hope that it's,
No, that's fine. Yeah, I love writing because it helps me remember, and I do all my planning, all my brain dumping on paper, and then I'll type it up and make it pretty. So I absolutely agree about the whole writing helps and all of that. So
yeah.
yeah.
And the same exact, I mean, again, you can't see, but there's like a stack to about here of just like notebooks, and on my client calls, I'm writing notes. Every blog I write by hand first and then type it. So, but there's science that links just how it's impacting your brain and the memory. So, but you can also say affirmations out loud. So for anyone who doesn't feel that way, you can absolutely say affirmations out loud as well. And again, that's something that we want to say them with intention. We want to say them with purpose. We don't want to say, I'm going to be successful, because we have that mind body connection neurologically, and that's telling our body a different message. So we want to put
Yeah.
some feeling and intentionality behind it.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a difference when I start reading them. At first I'll be like, yeah, but once I start going through them more, I can feel myself like sitting up better and like really trying to say it and really think about it. So it definitely makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. I've been known to close the door in my space here, and I will stand up, jump up and down, like pump my fist while saying certain things. And it sounds so dorky, and I don't really care because it
Yeah,
works, and
whatever works.
it works, and it's way different than, because our mind affects our body, but our body can also again send those same chemicals right back to our brain. So if and I know I used to be an actress. I was an actress for a decade. I know this. If I want to feel depressed for a role, all I have to do is get it in my body, and then I can feel that and emote that. So just think, when we're like, I don't like telling ourselves things and we're like this, it affects then how those thoughts we're having and those feelings we're having. So same
That
with
makes
affirmations.
sense. Yeah. Cool. So summarize everything you just went over. in case everyone got a little, because that was a lot to take in.
Yeah, I threw a lot out at you. I hope that's all right. I get very excited about this. Sure. So I'll give a quick recap. So let's see. The recap is that our thoughts are real. Mindset is a real thing. This is based in science, and our thoughts are what create our feelings, and our feelings are what create or cause us to take action or not take action. And that is what influences the results we get. And it's a loop. And so with goal setting, having that strong success mindset, spending some time in mindset, spending some time thinking about our future identity that we want, some time on values, some time on maybe some of the limiting beliefs and blocks we have before setting our goals can be a really great foundation to set us up for success, because then we're creating goals from a future space for what we actually want versus what we think we should want. And we're also setting ourselves up from that place to take action and follow through versus having some self-sabotage behaviors where we don't actually follow through with our goals. And I guess then the final recap would be that our mindset is, like most things in life, doing something once isn't going to be enough to shift it. It's repetition, repetition, repetition. So those exercises, whether it's working with a coach or dialoguing with a friend or talking to yourself, which I do, or affirmations or visualization or journaling and spending some time getting clear on what are those thoughts? What are some of those past memories? What are some of those fears? What do you want in the future? How do you want to show up in the future? What is that future version of yourself you're chasing? And spending some time on that every day will set you up for incredible change. And this is science. It's not me. This is real stuff. So I think that would be the Cliff Notes version.
Awesome. So where can everyone find you? I'll put all her links in the comments in the description below so you can find her.
Thank you. I would love to connect with anyone who's interested in learning more. My website is kimargetsinger.com. I have a free 3-day mindset challenge there. So if the mindset stuff interests you, there's a free challenge for you. And if you sign up for it, I think on the first page, there's it's like $9 or something video that has my mindset practices. So that's all there. And then I'm on Instagram probably the most, which is just at my name, at Kim Argetsinger. I have a Facebook group, Business Besties and Creative Bosses, and I love everyone in there. So if you want to come hang out with us there, and
yeah, it's a fun group.
Yay! And yeah, Jennifer's in there, which is awesome. So those are probably the places I'm the most where you can find me and connect with me. I love to connect with people. I'd love to answer any questions, and then I don't know, I've got some other links. You can throw those as well, but I'm probably not going to be as active in those spaces.
Well, thank everyone for being here, and thank you, Kim, for doing this with me. It's been fun.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have to talk science outside of this.
Oh my gosh, yeah, let's have a geek out phone call. Thank you so much for having me, because this is my life's obsession and life's work. I love it so much. So it's so nice to be able to share it with everyone and to have a space to get to geek out a little bit.
Oh, yes.
So thank you. I know I kind of word vomited a little bit. So thanks for letting me get to do my thing. I appreciate it.
Gotta do our thing.
Gotta do our thing.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.